It is 206 BC on the flats near Ilipa, Spain. The Beatis gleams like a ribbon. The sun clocks in early, the kind of heat that turns bronze into a private sauna. Publius Cornelius Scipio has already eaten, already drilled, already rehearsed the punchline. Across the way, two Carthaginian banners stir. Hasdrubal Gisco, a careful organizer trapped in a battlefield, and Mago Barca, audacious by bloodline and habit, a younger brother who inherited the family appetite for risk without the luxury of surprise. For days, Scipio has lulled them with the same tune. Romans in the middle, allies on the wings. He wants them bored of being right. He wants their scouts to yawn as they report. Then at dawn, he flips the seating plan. Heavy Roman infantry take both wings. Spanish and allied troops move into the center. Subtle? No. Surgical? Completely. He also moves first, because logistics is just strategy with better table manners. His men eat, they form, they advance before Carthaginian cooks can pronounce breakfast, and long before nerves harden. Carthage mirrors habit. African veterans, superb and serious, anchor the center, where reputations like to stand. Spanish and allied contingents brace the flanks, where blame usually lives. Hasdrubal trusts the center because it has never lied to him. Mago trusts momentum because it has never lied to his surname. But trust is not geometry. Scipio has placed iron where they are tin. He has placed patience where they are hungry. The Roman wings step with professional rudeness, shields forward, breath even, no hurry. In the center, allies advance just enough to keep Africa honest, then freeze like a hand resting on a chess piece, daring the opponent to blink first. Velites and light troops nibble at range, not for kills, but for rhythm. Scipio prefers battles that sound like a metronome and end like a ledger. The ground itself conspires. A mild rise breaks sightlines on each flank. A thin haze drags across helmets, masking the Roman heavy's depth until the moment depth matters. Scipio doesn't need theatrics. He needs the Carthaginians to do what they always do, one more time, while his army does what it never has yet. The trumpets clear their throat. Dust rises. Predictability quietly dies. Somewhere a standard dips and lifts again, not for drama, for alignment. And in that first long minute, the one commanders remember and soldiers mistake for an hour, Scipio's decision reveals its character. He has not aimed a spear at Carthage's pride, he has built a room around it. First contact is not a crash, it's a pressure that keeps happening. On Scipio's left, heavy infantry push Carthaginian Spanish formations into a disciplined bend. No drama, only inevitability. Feet grind gravel. Shield bosses tap like knuckles on a locked door. On the right, the same tempo, the same patient brutality, the same refusal to hurry toward mistakes. Scipio is conducting with a metronome, not a drum. The music is boring, and that is why it wins. In the center, the Africans do what Africans do. Hold shape, cut clean, refuse theatrics. They are the paragraph in every Carthaginian report that never needed editing. On any other day, they would be the anvil. Today, Scipio denies them a hammer and gives them a vice. His allied center marks time, advance, halt, dress, ranks, breathe, providing the illusion of a conversation while the wings turn into an argument the enemy cannot leave. Hasdrubal sees the geometry sour. He sends runners with smart orders shore up the wings, maintain the middle, but the field's edges are growing Roman shadows. Cavalry and light troops peel along the seams, discouraging all good ideas. Every route to reinforce crosses the place where horsemen prefer to live. The messengers begin their sprints with hope and finish with complicated thoughts about employment. Mago sells courage at wholesale gestures wide, resolve loud, and buys a little time, not position. He commits local reserves to stabilize the left, then glances right and discovers symmetry can be cruel. The sun climbs, heat taxes the hungry, and the Carthaginians formed on an empty stomach because Scipio stole their morning while they were still tying sandals. Logistics speaks softly, men listen loudly. The Roman wings keep stepping, thickening pressure by discipline alone. Centurions spend words like coins carefully on cadence, intervals, and distance. The line doesn't surge, it settles. And in the settling, it suffocates. By late morning, the Carthaginian flanks are no longer formations. They're problems to be managed by officers who have run out of management. The center remains excellent and isolated. Here, the Africans notch small, local wins, the sort of clean exchanges that would matter if the borders of the fight didn't keep moving. But the borders move. Standards on the wings tilt inward. A thin, invisible rope is tugging the whole Carthaginian position toward itself. Good soldiers obey orders. Great soldiers obey physics. Ilipa is teaching physics. The cue is a flick of Scipio's wrist, modest enough to be mistaken for dusting the air. Roman and allied horse Numidian speed braided into Roman weight slide outward, curve behind, and touch the seams where broken wings meet proud center. The first touch turns bodies, the second turns decisions. Rear space stops being space and becomes rumor. None of this is loud, all of it is final. Laelius, steady as an oath, angles for the microscopic gaps, the places maps forget to draw. He does not hunt glory, he hunts seams. His squadrons enter at a tilt, pry at shoulders, and convert formations into directions. On the left, a Carthaginian officer wheels to dress ranks and finds the back is now someone else's front. His banner dips, vanishes, and leaves behind a very educated silence. The line does not shatter, it folds like paper into a smaller idea of itself. The African squares stay immaculate, but perfection, surrounded, is geometry with stage fright. They listen to the fight behind them, to the far-off hoofbeats that are actually quite near, to the thickened breath of men discovering they are being edited. Mago yanks a reserve toward the rear to kick open a door before the lock settles. For a heartbeat, momentum glints, there is motion, there is noise, there is the thrilling memory of initiative. Then it meets a Roman counter that feels heavier than hope. The gap inhales and is gone. Elsewhere, Numidians knife through dust with the loose, effortless cruelty of professionals who have found the angle. They don't need kills, they need choices to die. Drums change tempo. Standards relocate meaning. The Roman infantry on the wings sense the weight shift and lean a degree further inward, the way experienced workmen lean into a wall just before it yields. There is, at last, a shared comprehension that does not require language. The formation tightens into a C. The empty center shrinks from field to corridor to mistake. The cavalry door closes. Not with a clang, Ilipa doesn't do clang, but with the soft, satisfied consonant of something that worked exactly as designed. Click. The Roman center, which has breathed evenly all morning, leans forward like gravity finally got a vote. The anvil is gone. The vice remains. And vices are instruments with the patience to turn time into pressure. By midday, Ilipa looks like neat handwriting, steady strokes, no flourishes, a message you can read from far away. On the wings, cohesion runs like wax under a lamp. In the center, discipline shines like bronze laid out for inspection. That contrast is the plan made visible. The Africans continue to be excellent measured thrusts, square shields, cold patience, but excellence trapped becomes endurance, then expense, and expense has a way of dictating terms. Roman lines manage inches like accountants manage columns. No lunges, no hero tax. Thicken what thins, thin what bulges. Standards lift not for glory but for leverage, as if the whole army is a jack turning the day a quarter turn tighter. An inch taken becomes a sentence finished. Multiply that by 1,000 and you get a paragraph the enemy can't edit. Multiply it by 2,000 and editors resign. Hasdrubal feels it the way commanders feel, collapses through the soles of his certainty. The edges complain, the middle hums with the stubborn music of professionals. Messengers return thinner than when they left, their news condensed by cavalry. The straightest road out runs directly through horsemen who consider roads a snack. Straight is not safe, it's merely honest. Mago's last tight knot fights like a footnote asking to be remembered correctly. Men brace, spears lock. For a bright, brief stanza, they exist in the kind of sentence veterans tell themselves at night. The Roman machine remembers them and goes around. If bravery were ballast, it might steady the ship. Here, it only helps it sink evenly. Heroism remains noble, geometry remains employed. Heat joins the prosecution. Armor cooks, tongues chalk over. The missing breakfast shows up as a bill with compound interest and no payment plan. Centurions walk the line with the unsentimental affection of craftsmen judging grain. More here, less there, hold. When Scipio finally says press, it sounds like agreement. The center steps once. The wings fold by habit, the door does what doors do when work is done, it stays shut. By late afternoon, there is no drama left, only conclusions. No trumpet can make the shape pretend to be anything else. The punctuation flight, fracture, surrender belongs to Carthage. The sentence does not. Scipio's army, which never hurried because it never had to, writes the last line by standing still in the right place. Ilipa ends like sturdy architecture. One structure remains a structure, the other stops pretending. Hasdrubal extracts what can still be named an army, a noun rescued from adjectives. Mago carries fragments and a promise to try somewhere else, some other month, because the family business has always been audacity on credit. Their reports will be long, their options will be brief. Somewhere, a clerk will write reorganization and mean recovery if geography allows. Scipio's victory braids 3 levels. Tactically, the Dawnflit made the enemy's strength irrelevant and their routine a liability. Operationally, the encirclement starved choice, not just men, and taught the field to listen to Roman cavalry the way a crowd listens to doors locking. Politically, Iberia feels its center of gravity tilt, hedging cities switch language, hostages meet new hosts, grain acquires a Latin accent, silver leaves mines and learns new portraits. The theater that once listened to Carthage now hears Rome through every open door, and, increasingly, through the ones that are not open. The lesson is plainer than the legend. Scipio did not conjure a miracle, he scheduled one. He learned Hannibal's negative space, the discipline of asking the ground what it wants, and then asked a different question. Not, can I break their best, but can I make their best irrelevant? He used boredom as a weapon drill, calories as a tactic, breakfast, and politeness as a trap. Keep your proud center, we'll trouble you elsewhere. The result looks inevitable only after it happens, the way all good plans do. Veterans will remember bread at an unfashionable hour, the long exhale when the rear turned Roman, and a commander who preheated the day. They will remember the feeling of a line that stayed square while the world curved to meet it. They will carry home the idea that clever is kind only to the side that starts early. For Carthage, Ilipa is not the end, but you can hear the future from here. Draw the line, Ilipa to Spanish defections, to embassies in Africa, to Zama, to signatures, to a long, dim rumor of salt that is more story than soil. Somewhere along that line, a soft consonant repeats itself, the sound of a morning decision that would not be undone. Click. The door Scipio closed was not merely behind an army, it was behind a continent that had just learned a new language for inevitable.